We'll call a meeting to order. Young County Commissioners Board setting a regular meeting Monday, June the 26th, 2017. It is 9:34 a.m. Make note that this meeting's been posted in the manner and for the time required, and that with the exception of Commissioner Pruitt, all other members of the board are present. And if it's convenient, we rise, and I believe it's Mr. Simon's opportunity to please their invocation and pledges.
Let us pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to do better than we did yesterday. Thank you so much for the privilege of living in this wonderful community and in this wonderful country. Please put your hand upon Commissioner Pruitt's young grandbaby. Help it through its troubling times and bring it out the other end healthy and happy. We appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you very much for the men and women in uniform that keep harm away from our front door. All this we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. Item number 3, public comments, presentations. I don't have anything, nobody don't hear. Is there anything that any court member is aware of that needs to be announced or made mention of, or anybody from the public arena out here? If not, I will just mention again that our state legislature is going to be in a special session beginning July the 18th. It'll be a 30-day session. It could be painful for local governments. Maybe our folks can get together and come to some kind of compromise on issues that are at hand. Or maybe they'll just take action on one or two little things and then say, let's go and go on. That's what would be preferable. Anything else that July 4th rapidly approaching? I think our ADR again going to host the parade, host the 4th of July parade. That'll be happening on the 4th, I think, beginning at 11 a.m. That's the only thing I know is I'm aware of. Transpiring.
I can say something too. The court has decided, of course, not to take any action on the burn ban in the county.
Yeah.
I would urge everyone who is going to have a family function with fireworks, please use them responsible. I realize they're probably already having some problems in the city with youth not using them, driving down the road, throwing them in other cars and that kind of thing. It's not so much fire problems as it is just irresponsible use of them.
They wouldn't do that, would they?
Who would do that?
Who would do that?
I don't want to go back to my childhood either, but either way, this is a different world we live in today. And I urge everyone to enjoy the fireworks, but please be responsible with them.
Very good. With that, let's move on to item number 4. Consider county clerk's minutes from previous meeting, June the 20th, 2017. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections need to be made to those?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers to approve minutes as presented. All in favor? Carried 5-0. Item number 5, consider.
Before.
Excuse me?
Before.
You're correct. We're one short, aren't we? 4 over. You can catch that correction, Ms. Clerk? 4 over.
Only got 4 voting members here.
Yeah. Item number 5, consider treasurer's financial report, update on securities pledges.
I don't think we have any
We don't
securities
have any
pledges
pledges
this
like
time.
this time.
Yeah, I presented you with May's financials. Like I said, we're still looking good this year. We haven't had any major catastrophes or anything, so everything's balanced and we're in good shape.
You got a lot of money in the bank.
We got plenty right now, knock on wood.
So I get through.
Got enough to meet our debt obligations and all that.
Oh, we still have one in August.
And it's just interest, I
Yeah.
believe, so I don't know what the payment is, but it's not that much.
Yeah.
70-something maybe.
Yeah, we have how much,
211, almost 200.
Nothing of any special
No?
notice we not need to be taking on this.
No?
Very
I
good.
mean, Ag Barn's a little low, but that's normal.
If there's a train coming, we'd appreciate you letting us know that we're on the tracks.
Not so far, no,
Okay.
like I said, no murder trials, no roads washed out.
Have a motion on the
So
treasurer's
moved.
report. Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers to approve the treasurer's financial report as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
That'd be a 4-0. Number 6, consider auditor's budget amendments and vouchers
You
paid.
ready for the Grim Reaper?
Do you have any amendments? No amendments.
And vouchers aren't too bad, it's everything that follows. Today's vouchers are $36,464.91. And out of the general is $32,089.99. So not much else was anything, but mostly out of general.
Anything special up there that needs to be brought up?
No, not that was paid in here, everything was pretty much just the normal stuff.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Wiley,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Sykes. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
Yeah, we got the rest of it.
Now, here's the rest of it. One thing I need to bring to the court's attention, I guess get approval on, the district judge has approved it. The court reporter has her national conference this year in Las Vegas, and she has her expenses here, which even her flight is not, my mileage to Austin. So she did pretty good on finding flights and stuff. The total of her expenses are $1,405.98, and she does have that in her education budget.
Okay.
The national conference.
Okay.
That's closer than
Request for out-of-state travel.
the Caribbean.
That's the first.
So moved.
Now what's that for?
$1,405.98.
I guess I'll second that myself. Have any takers on that? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
I'm doing this from a little bit of worst to worst first. So, second bit of news, and I handed out to y'all, we have a deficit in our unemployment fund with TAC. $7,275.79. $7,275.79 that they're wanting, requesting payment. Like I said, the deposits, usually quarterly, the deposits are between $1,200 and $1,300 that we've been making, and we had several unemployment claims that kind of took care of what we paid in last year to make it up and what deposits we've made this year.
Okay, do we have any money in that fund?
Well, there is enough money in there to pay it, but, we owe 2 more quarters, so it's probably gonna run about $2,400-$2,500 short by the time I pay the 2 quarters that we still owe, so.
Well,
There may be enough, I'll have to
we'll
look,
have that in.
Just run it short.
we can run it short, or I can, there may be enough left, I'll have to see what we have, how workers' comp is going, and if there's enough, because they're in the same budget, to move it down into the other one, I can do that.
Okay, do we have a motion to, so move?
Second that.
Motion second. I'm running short. Excuse me, motion running short. Well, no, not yet.
Yeah, we're just not taking any action.
Motion, what's that? Well, the motion is to, and that's
Out of the benefits,
benefits line
of the unemployment line.
72, 75,
to
79.
correct our workers' comp deficit. That's what the motion is.
72, 75, 79.
72, 75, 79.
It's a
I'll
seven.
second.
That other discussion, Stacy, was about what's going to occur as things move on down the road.
Yeah, we'll see how negative.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
And the last thing I have, I think y'all all have a copy of the letter from the comptroller's office. And I was telling the judge this morning, because I hadn't seen much on the listserv about it. Well, this morning it was hit. So a lot of counties got hit with overpayment to a vendor and they sent us the money now.
A taxpayer made this big a difference in
Obviously, like I said, it's.
pretty good sized vendor.
Ours is very small compared to several other counties. that
Who was it, Walmart?
They didn't say, and the only way that you can request it, I think the judge has the authority to request an open records. And I'm not even sure, some of them said they get this encrypted message you can't open anyway, so.
Yeah, that was a little talk last week on the judge's list, there's 2 or 3 counties that got this letter. I think this came in on Thursday or
Yes,
Friday.
a couple days.
Late, so after reading that, I was curious on whether it was the same vendor. I suspected it probably is.
So it said a taxpayer.
That's what it says. A taxpayer was audited and found them incorrectly
But
reported.
didn't you
And I don't
say
mean
it
to
may
say
not
that
just
Walmart
be-
did it by no means. I
No.
mean, it's going to be a rather large account.
But
Well,
didn't you say it wasn't just 1 year, it could be several years
Years.
combined
Yeah,
together?
on the list,
Improperly
Cook
reported
County
for a
said
while.
Yeah.
it went back to 2011. So
2011.
this may be over
Okay.
several years, I guess. But they have several ways there you can pay it. I noticed if we make a one-time payment, we get a 2% discount, which when I figured it, like, they're
But
saying.
CD money.
Yeah, they're saying we owe $25,079.76. If we take the 2%, that's like $500 off. It's $24,578.17. Or we can,
Pay it out.
have them deduct it from what we were, Ann and I had talked about it, and the line we would pay it out of would be that sales tax line where it went into.
Yeah, was it went in, let's pull it back out.
Just pull it right back out and pay it, but.
Or they would take it out of your current that's coming in.
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be better if we paid it out of the account now and go ahead and let our payments
Right.
continue to be
Yeah.
what they
Yeah,
should be?
because we only had 1 month out of the whole year so far, that was $100,000. All the other ones have been 70 and 80,000, so.
Well, I would move that we return that money.
They can be piecemeal.
Out of that account.
They can be piecemeal at 375.76, so of course 65 months.
Uh,
Then we have to budget for it.
If the money's there, I think we'd be able to pay it back rather than y'all keep up with things for 65 months.
It's gonna
I may not be
become a
here
nightmare.
65.
No, no.
It's become a nightmare, a county nightmare, so.
It could,
Well,
and-
it'd be them deducting it out of what they pay back.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be doing all the
But you'd
accounting.
have to be making an accounting correction for the actual
no, not really.
sales tax.
I mean, I get, you know, we just wouldn't get the 2%, which is $500.
That'd
And
be done by the comptroller of Oneida County, they'll just withhold that much from what they sent to.
Does it hurt our cash position to go ahead and pay it?
Not this year.
no, not right now, not this year. We're good right now if we went ahead and paid it out of that revenue line, but
I move we dispose of it and pay it.
Get her done.
Got a motion.
Cheryl, that we owe.
Second, Roger.
25,
I guess you'd call that the refund the comptroller?
Sales tax, yeah.
Refund of overpay?
refund of overpayment from Texas Comptroller. With the 2%.
Overpayment of sales tax to comptroller. Everybody want to do that?
yeah,
All in one time?
get her done.
Okay. I'll concur with the board.
I think you're doing the right thing, sir.
So with the 2%, it's 24,578.17 for 2%.
24, 5, 78, 18,
17,
17.
send them that extra penny.
Watch that penny now. So the dollars take care of themselves if you just watch the pennies.
That's right. Okay,
Okay. Do you have anything further?
did they vote on that one?
Well, I
Yeah,
wrote it
he
down
concurred.
4-0.
4-0.
Perfect. No, haven't I told y'all nothing?
We did on my agenda.
Okay, good. We're good.
Item number 7 is consider employee bond, and that's one listed here for Michelle McClanahan, Secretary of Texas Agricultural Extension Office, for a $5,000 bond.
I move we execute that bond for Mr. McClanahan.
Okay, that's going to be size. Approve bond as presented.
Judy.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Item number 8, discuss, consider previous proposal for outside audit tabled from June 20th, 2017. Has everybody looked at those audits over? Those audit proposals? Both of them looked very good to me. One was like $2,500 higher, $3,000.
$3,000.
Higher than the other.
It's also gonna charge mileage and meals.
Yeah, I think further monetary stipulations in the other contract really prevents me from recommending that one. So I would recommend that we go with the Edgin, Parkland, Fleming, and Fleming proposal
Second.
for this audit year.
Motion by Commissioner Simon, second by Commissioner Wiley,
They're closer to our source too, so.
to retain the services of Edgin, Parkman,
Fleming and Fleming.
Fleming, and Fleming for our outside audit.
About 27,000 a year,
2017.
27 even.
Yeah, 27,000. All in favor? Aye. 4-0. Okay. We got an outside auditor.
Okay, I told both of them, you know, there was no need to come today, but I would give them both a call.
We'll probably be pretty happy with them. I think they do a pretty good job.
Well, he said they were in town a lot anyway because they did the appraisal lot.
Item number 9, open bids. Well, let's see. We're not hardly there yet. Item number 10, let's go to item number 11 of the, any,
I'd say no.
thing we need to do or any, might just make a note on that item, just like Commissioner Simon said, all be cautious.
Judge, I haven't received it.
Well, we're about 5 minutes early for that. I don't guess it matters if we don't have any bids. So,
I'll contact.
item number 9 will be consider, open and consider bid for sale of dump truck and after it. Man's not here, we'd table that item anyway. If
I'll
we had
contact
any,
him
but
and see if he wants to.
we received no bids. Okay, we'll consider that at our next meeting then, what Mr. Pruitt would like to do there. I suspect you don't. If you want to do that over or not, we'll have to ask him. We're down to budget workshop, item number 10. And Mr. Robert Dial, he's gonna come over here and he's gonna tell us why he needs less than what he had last year.
Well, I will. Well, I'm not asking for more. I just have 2 recommendations for this time, and like I said, I'm not asking for a raise, but I would like to request y'all consider a 5% raise for both my clerks. Last year, I know the economy was bad and we couldn't afford to do that with the cost of living, the cost of food, the cost of gas and everything else has gone up, and I feel like we need to stay up in our paying our people at work in order so they can continue to live in the same lifestyle they're in now. And the other thing is, I would like to recommend a $500 a year stipend for Miss Dickey, because she has just, this past year, received her master's clerk's certificate.
Actually, I got it in 2015.
2015. And that process took 2 years to get. She had to go through the school, she had to do her own study in her own time, and some of the expenses that she did that she incurred, she would go to school, and we would pay for her regular school, and she would pay for the extended part of it. And I think because of the effort that she's put in, that she deserves some kind of merit raise or something for this. And so that's why I'm recommending the $500 a year merit raise for that. One of the ways that we have looked into this, how we can afford to do this, would be Judge Mather and I have been doing some research on the different counties around us and comparing their fine schedules with our fine schedules. And so far, we've gotten through a criminal record. We still have a Parks and Wildlife and a commercial vehicle list to see what the fine amounts are. Some on the commercial are mandatory required by law. But this is what we have come up with on and agreed upon, and we want to start this September the 1st.
Robert, are these,
I'll go over this with you, and
the question is, do you have limits here, or are they recommended by the state, or is there a top fine that's applicable here, or is it just up to
it's just up to the judge. Well, we have a minimum and maximum. Some of them are 0 to 250, some of them are 0 to 500. And so we have been way below everyone. If y'all will look in there, you'll see really we should be comparable to Stevens County and Jack County. We put Wichita and Parker in there, but their populations are are so big and their income is so much greater than ours that some of theirs will be lower. But anyway, we compared it with Stevens and Jack County, and we've discussed this with Judge Baylor and sent him a copy of our adjustments here on it, and he's agreed to that.
So this would be Young County,
This would be Young County.
both precincts?
Yes, the yellow, yeah, we're gonna try to stay together so that people won't get confused with all of it. And if you look in the white portion, this is the numbers that we're charging right now.
Those are current.
Fines.
And these are just a very few of our actual
Yeah,
offenses.
we have more than this,
Oh, yes.
but the ones in yellow, are the ones that we're wanting that we've agreed to change to.
And this is, the increase in this amount would go directly to the county.
And one other reason why I think, going back to the raises, is there's a bill in the legislature right now. It's been amended. It was to raise the civil fees up to 20,000. And then I think, I can't remember which house did it, but the other one put an amendment on it to raise it to just 15,000. But even if you just raise it to 15,000, that's going to put a lot more work on our clerks. And so,
You're talking about civil suit.
civil suits, yes, sir.
And
And
you're
so-
also discussing the expunsions, Judge.
Oh, yeah. Functions on, I don't know how the system works, but if you get a traffic ticket and later on you want to get it expunged from your records, you'll be able to do that, and it's going to be more work put on our clerks. And so, like I said, I don't know much about the process that Ms. Dickey went through on getting her master's certificate, and I'll let her explain that to you, but basically, that's the only two recommendations I have for you.
What is the process for changing these fines? His recommendation approved by the Commissioners Court?
We never have had
I don't know
approval
that.
by the Commissioners Court, it's just something that
Just you
just
set
Stan and I
those,
get together on. and-
you arbitrarily set those, there's no limitation set on you by the
Well,
state?
there's a minimum and maximum, like I was saying
Yeah,
earlier.
sorry.
Some of it was 250, some of it's 500, and we can go anywhere in there.
Basically, we have court costs that are set by the state. We have to charge those. There is a minimum to maximum amount set for, depending on what the offense is. If it's considered a moving offense, the maximum is $200. That is what we would consider the county portion. If it's not a moving offense, it could go up to 500. And some of ours, for instance, our possession of drug paraphernalia, that's set at 485. That's what the
Just for
county,
clarification, this is up to the JP's discretion,
up to the JP.
okay? But it's gotta be set prior to the budget year?
No.
No, we
Can be
can,
done anytime during the
we
year.
can set it anytime we want to, it's just something we haven't done. Well, these have been the same fines before I came in the office. And they haven't been changed in so long, and we are way behind everyone else. Except, like I said, the larger counties, they may not because they have more traffic and they have a lot more
But
income.
you say you have latitude to go ahead, you could have been charging more than this anyway, right?
Yes, we could have.
You say these don't have to be approved through the court?
They don't. We can set them, we both agreed on those right there on the criminal, and like I said, we have, the commercial, ones that are coming up, and then the parks and wildlife. that We haven't looked at or compared with the other counties around us. But we can raise those at any time, and we chose to wait until September 1st. That's a new fiscal year for the state, and we'll set them on September 1st, so, they will already be filtering in.
Is there a published list of these fines available in your office?
No, we're not required to do that. But previously, we have not raised them because the judges previous, prior to Judge Stiles, knew that the society was having a hard time financially anyway with the oil bust and all that. So they said, let's try to help people out a little bit. But we're at a point now to where we just feel like we have to. As far as my certification, we're required, no clerk is required to do it, but it is highly advised by our training center to go ahead and go through these. There are 2 levels. I have taken both levels, passed both on the first try. It's merely to give a clerk more information more access to locations where they can find good information. So that is.
Did you pay for most of this out of your pocket?
I did. Honestly, before, I was not sure that there would be any benefit for me to even take the test, but I finally decided, our office deserves to have me take that, so I went ahead and did it.
And one last thing, I know the last couple of years, I've come in here and I keep telling you this border security is gonna be
Right.
done away with, and our troopers are gonna be back, and then every time I open my mouth and say something like that,
I hear you and
the
all.
legislature here or something. And basically, I think what happened this time was the federal government told the state they were gonna discontinue their portion of it. And so Brian Little, Sergeant Little, called us the other day, and effective August 31st, there is no more border security. So all of our troopers will be back home. That's just a little information.
That's good information.
They're getting tired of it.
Understand?
When you spend 2 weeks out of nearly every month away from your family and your children, everything, and they get tired of it. One of the reasons I quit DPS when I quit was because of the border security. Going down there, we were going every month. And I was in CVE where we didn't have to go as often as the highway patrol did. But now, it looks
I
like
saw a number this
everybody-
weekend that said illegal border crossings are down 50% just due to the culture in Washington DC.
Well, they put, and they put, I know at least now they have 7 new sergeant areas down there. So they've got all those troopers trained. They not only trained for DPS, but they actually rode with the Border Patrol to learn how to do some of their stuff.
Much of the problem prior to now, though, is that the Border Patrol
Right.
hands were tied by
That's
their
right.
bosses in Washington, so they've been turned loose to do their job again, so. And that's good, they'll put more troopers on our highways and
Right.
make your court
Well,
active as it used to be.
Well, it's not just about money too. It makes it safer here. When you've got all of your troopers here to go with your city officers and your county deputies and everything, the more that you have, the safer it will be. You'll have more marked units out on the road, and hopefully it'll help the safety part of it. So, but that's,
When you have an accident, you don't have to wait for somebody out of Eastland to come down.
that's right. See, that when they go, whenever, like if your troopers from Seymour go to the border, if there's an accident in Baylor County, then either Jacksboro or Graham has to go over there. to-
Out west is a real problem, isn't it?
So they'll have everybody back.
How much more do you anticipate this bringing in revenue-wise? Have you run the numbers?
No, I haven't run the numbers on it yet, but I mean, some of them are small amounts, but then some of them are greater amounts. And on the commercial, we have the authority to change some of them, but some of them, especially your weights,
In the textile?
they're already set by the state that you can't, that they have a maximum on them, and, like if it's a second offense, you can't go over a certain amount on it, so it's already set.
Yeah, this is a speeding 1 mile an hour through 10. What's the split? How's that split, do you know?
You talking about the fees and
Yeah,
stuff?
how do we get, how much do we get?
Out of that amount, the court costs are $100.10, the county gets $36.90 out of that.
36.98.
So if we up that one to 150, the state would still get $100.10, we would get the rest.
That fine currently is $137, so about $100 goes to the
So we
state.
get 59.90 out of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
25 to
36.98.
30% difference.
If it's a non-moving office, the state would get $67, we would get the balance. And
What-
non-moving basically means like.
What's the most common fine you have in your office? Speeding?
127, which is
Yeah.
usually a non-moving.
A non-moving violation?
Yeah, like
that,
inspections.
the
and
state would get
registration.
67.
Just about half.
Right. Now, another thing, gentlemen, is that with the state possibly adding all these other options onto the JP court, for instance, the expunctions and the other items that Judge Stout mentioned, is that we don't have a clerk's office. It's just us. So we're handling all of our criminal to people. handling all of our criminal, all of our civil, evictions, everything like that. So it puts a lot of weight on us.
More unfunded mandate.
Yes, I know. Not just the state. I-
You will do this, but
article on
no
the
money for
federal
it.
government too, and they're wanting to mandate some things and not finance or, put money into it. So
Anytime
that's
you
gonna
have
make the
concerns
state-
over those kind of things, please make us aware, because I'd be happy to make some phone calls down to Austin.
Okay.
Well, another thing that was brought into us back in 2015 was the occupational driver's license. We're only allowed to charge $46 for filing fees. There's a lot of paperwork involved in those. So, and I realize that it's a lot away from the county court, but we had a lot of additional cases filed by people. Super cheap. That's the bad part about that.
I had no idea though that your fines were discretionary as long as you were between the maximum
Oh,
and
no.
minimum.
As long as we stay within that fine limit where we can do whatever we want to with it. On our part, we still have to give the state, like you said.
As long as you get to take their part, yeah.
Yeah,
And they get theirs first.
So your intention is to increase the fines on these?
well, we've already talked to Judge Mailer on that, and those will go up September 1st.
Okay.
And then we'll
Can you
talk,
give us an idea how much income that will bring?
I don't know if, we didn't do a check on how many
The
different
court costs.
types that we
what
get.
the
Can you do
state law
that?
said.
We
So,
could
it
probably
really
compare it to
depends on
what
we
some of our
decide to
records
set
from
the,
past months.
If we
What
raise
the
it,
average is on
Do you have a total for last year?
We'll get whatever's left over. But,
Did you apply these fines
this
to what
is
you
just
find?
should have
a
it.
percentage.
She does
These are
all
the ones
the
that are on our
paperwork.
percentage. So I have probably.
But she'll do what you tell her to do, right?
Yeah, she will.
Is there any way you could run revenue, projected revenue numbers?
I'm not a numbers person.
I understand, but if you're raising the fine on 1 to 10 mile an hour
Right.
by 40%, 30%, whatever, you could increase what you got last year times 30% and get a numbers close, right?
That'd be an additional $24, so.
How many times did you fine people 1 to 10 mile an hour? Do you have a number there?
I could get a report on that. I'm sure we
Run
have.
last year's numbers and just put the new prices on it.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
I mean, their numbers are down anyway, so any increase is gonna be good.
I understand, but we're talking about offsetting additional expenses that he's asked for. I'd like to see what the revenue offset might be.
Well, there's a
We're gonna talk
lot,
about revenues here shortly.
there's a lot of factors that's going to go into that too, when you get all
Whether
the
people
troopers
pay or
back,
not.
and you have a full, complete law enforcement. See, the city don't give us anything unless it's a.
Just give us your best projection.
Okay.
But when you find somebody no driver's license, no liability insurance, how many times they just set that out?
As often as you think.
They don't like to be in jail as much as you think they do, and when you have something that's $400 or $500 and you only get $50 a day for it, that's 8 days in jail. That don't sound like a whole lot, 8 days, but when you're sitting in that cell there, they don't like that, so they try to get out.
I think the ones that set it out, Commissioner, are the ones who've been there before and know they can do it, so.
I don't do a whole lot of those. I have done some lately, but as a whole, I haven't done a whole lot of those time served.
There's another thing that Judge Miller also is involved in. We have a process called Omnibase. And if our case goes to warrant, we can place a hold on their license with DPS in Austin. So whenever they want that license renewed, they have to pay our fee.
We can or we do?
We do. We do. And our collection agency has been doing a very good job at helping us collect the amounts.
Good.
But,
Because they'll affect their license renewal, their license plates, all kinds of.
No, not the license plates, just
Really?
they won't renew their driver's license.
and see if they don't renew, then there's a possibility of them getting dropping their license invalid down the road, so.
They got expired license.
Well, not just expired. They can have a valid license, but if they haven't paid
But
that
once it's not
fine.
renewed, it'll be expired.
Right.
It'll be suspended eventually,
It'll
so
be-
don't
it-
come up here.
They probably wouldn't file the expired when they file the driving while license invalid.
Mhm. And then they get into what we call hamster wheels, and a lot of people don't want to get into that, so.
Can't turn it and turn. That's right.
How much of that fine does the state get on invalid driver's license?
It's a non-moving, so they get $67.
Okay.
Oh, invalid?
Mm-hmm,
I believe that one would be the $100.
the $100.
But see, the county gets $81 out of that.
That's the first violation that comes through your court.
Right, that's first offense,
After
yes,
that.
sir.
If it's second offense, it comes up here.
Right. They will usually pay their no insurance, even though it does hit them. They will pay it because they don't want to get into that, losing their license.
First driving all license invalid is the last C,
Mhm.
and then the next one gets higher.
And see what happens, what she was talking about earlier, if you get another DWLI, then the state, your license is suspended on a, not just, it's a conviction when the court does it.
Sure.
Until then, the state comes in and does an administrative hearing on that. That's when we start getting these requests for occupational license
Right.
down there. If Judge Bullock convicts somebody for DWLI, we can't do it because that is a conviction. It's got to go to the court that has jurisdiction on it. But if it's for any administrative violation, then it comes to our court.
Even DWIs, if they have not been convicted, we get those for occupational license. So there's a lot of that just coming through our court.
Send you all a
Do what?
Send you all, it's all business you can send.
We always-
You and Mr. Green both do that.
We know when you're having court because we get those.
In the next few weeks, if you would, try to get those.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get a copy of that?
Oh, yeah.
That
Okay.
one, did you get that one?
No.
Can we take about a 10-minute break?
Yes, sir. Break 10 minutes or so.